I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
Durant with that jump shot's off. Long rebound run down by Hodges, and here's the King. That's a three.
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait.
Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
Did somebody say sweep? I think someone did. And I think others said 3-2, which is obviously strange. But welcome to this exciting edition, Tuesday that is, of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am one half of that dynamic duo, Cole Johnson. The other half is convalescing off of cancer surgery. He's doing well. He sends his best wishes. And I think he's going to enjoy the very first segment because of what I saw him responding on social media last night. But this dynamic duo is a little different today, as I am joined by the one, the only Mr. Stuck in My Mind podcast extraordinaire. That is Wise El Jefe. How you doing, sir?
Morning, Cole. How you doing?
Man, I just can't complain. I'm doing wonderful. I am doing wonderful.
Yes. I woke up to some great news, so I'm blessed. So, yeah.
Well, along with, of course, the 3 games that took place in the first round last night, we're going to touch on the games that are on tap tonight as well. 3 more on slate. We're also going to dabble a little bit NFL, not a lot, but a little. And I just have to get off my chest the next prisoner of the moment take of Durant's legacy is ruined. But I'll talk about that later. I am talking about the Celtics and Brooklyn Nets now to begin the segment, as the Nets tried to fend off the Celtics for the 4th consecutive game, because if they did not, they would have gone home being swept. They are home fishing because they got swept. The Celtics beat them 116-112 off of, I guess you could say, a spirited performance. I can't say a stellar one, but a good one from Jason Tatum, 29 points on 5 assists. Although he did foul out, the 6th foul I question. And I'm saying this not as a Celtics fan. I'm just saying as a fan in general. Marcus Smart chipped in with 20 and 11 assists. Jaylen Brown chipped in with 22. Al Horford chipped in with 13. And Greg Williams chipped in with 14. Robert Williams, 14 minutes of action. Looked pretty good. Looks solid. 3 points and 5 boards and 1 steal in that 14 minutes. So he was active in that short span of, I would say, a quarter, basically. So I'm happy for the Celtics. They're the first team in this playoff season to advance to the conference semifinals. They will host either the Bulls or the Bucks. I think we pretty much know who's going to be in the next round. I'll talk about the Bucks and Bulls a little later. But for the losing Nets, you had 23 from Seth Curry. You had 13 from Claxton. You had 10 from Goran Dragic. You had 20 from Kyrie Irving. And you had 39 from Durant. So he went out with a bang, although he didn't shoot all that well. He did go out with a bang. But 59 points from Durant and Curry combined was not enough. And, I should say 59 points combined from Irving and Durant was not enough. Just like 62 was not enough from the duo in game 1. But I want to start with this type of stat, though. So 3 out of the 4 games that the Celtics and Nets played, the Nets shot 40% from 3 and 50% from the field, yet they lost 3 of those games. Why do you think that's the case?
They don't play D.
I love lobbing alley-oops like that.
They don't play D. We know this. It's not. Listen, once they traded Jared Allen away as part of that deal, they got rid of their D.
Yep.
That he he was their man in the middle to protect the rim.
Yes, he was.
And so and get those little key rebounds, which they did not get. Like they had opportunities last night to really tie the game late on. They just couldn't compete. They just couldn't complete it, man. It was the Celtics was crashing the boards. Howard, Williams, both Williams actually, and so when a team is dominating the boards, especially getting offensive rebounds.
There's the key right there.
Offensive rebounds. So second chance points really hurt them.
That's right there. That exactly. The two things that hurt them the worst. Offensive rebounds against them and defense. Because even though the Nets were able to fill the hole, they were not able to stop other teams from scoring as well. So to me, I don't think this is a shock. Yet many think it is that the Nets have gone home. But when you have a team in the Celtics that seem to be pretty good, fundamentally sound everywhere, it's going to be hard to beat them. And now the Celtics have the feather in cap of not only beating the preseason odds-on favorites between the NBA front offices and Vegas, but pretty much the odds-on favorites of sports analysts in the preseason going into this regular season, and they did it in the sweep.
Well, now that I'm an analyst, I didn't think they would win.
I didn't either. For the first word you said when I asked the question, why did in 3 of those 4 games Nets shot 50% from the field and 40% from 3, and they still lost 3 of those 4 games? You said it. They don't play defense. And I saw that, and I'm thinking to myself, so they got guys who could fill it up, and they got 2 good ISO players. But what about the other end? What, they're going to outscore teams? And I actually said that. Or they're going to try to outscore everybody, because if so, they're going to falter.
I think that's what their plan was. They're like, originally it was like Harden, Irving, and Durant. They're gonna just light it up. They're gonna all drop 20-something points per game. We're gonna score probably 120, 130 points per game. And it just didn't materialize. Like, dude, y'all don't play defense. Y'all could drop as many points as y'all want.
Yeah.
But if you can't stop anyone from scoring, it makes no sense.
No, because all an opponent has to be is 1 point better than you. And the Celtics did that 4 straight times, and that's all that matters. And the Nets scored over 100 points each game. So, yeah. 6 says hello, everybody.
Morning, my man, Sick.
Good morning to you too, Sick. I'm doing well, man. I cannot complain, bro. I cannot complain at all.
I am blessed, man. I got a lot of things going on, and I can't complain, man. I'm happy.
All right, Ethan. Pleasure to have you come aboard, brother. He says, if you can replace Kyrie with Pat from the Bucks, will they have a better performance in the series?
Well, Pat.
Yeah, clarify. Yeah, which Pat are you talking? I'm sorry. 6 says, a team can't rely on their offense to compensate for their lack of defense. The offense gets the highlights, but the defense wins championships.
And that's what we've been saying.
Yes, sir.
That's what we've been saying. That's why this Boston team is dangerous, because they play D and they can score buckets.
Yeah, I mean it's a tried and true formula. Offense brings the people into the stands; they fill the seats. The defense raise the banners, and if you're going to have a team that's not going to even put effort toward the defensive end, forget it. But we see a team which has, and look what they're doing. They're advancing to the next round. Oh, by the way, they still can fill it up because they can score on average 110 points too. Yeah. So So the Celtics, to me look like the most dangerous team in the playoffs thus far. And I'm not even talking about the sweep. That's not even what gets me the
But
most
again,
dangerous thing.
we've discussed this. They were the hottest team in the NBA,
Yeah, ever since All-Star break, there has not been a team hotter than them,
hotter than them,
including now. Still
yeah,
hasn't.
still.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Cunningham. Okay,
oh, that's right. That's right. Pat
Covington.
Connaughton. Connington. That's right. That's right. Thank you, Ethan. Uh, mm, Not much different. I mean, it'll be different from the standpoint you'll have somebody who is putting forth effort on the opposite end, obviously.
On defense,
But
yeah. Now, offensively, I don't think he could probably compare.
I think that's the problem. They would need along with Connington, if they were to have somebody else who could fill it up and be consistent, like for example, if Blake Griffin could consistently give you 15, 16, 17, 18, along with that effort from Connington on the other end, then I would say, yeah, he could make a difference. But the difference would be, yes, they would play better defensively, but
They'd be lacking somewhere else.
they will lack someplace else. And I think with the Nets, they needed to have all hands on deck because they needed to have better. They need to have more rebounders. Period. Because Andre Drummond is just not going to be the only guy who's supposed to be coming down with boards. They have nobody defensively that's going to stop anybody. And when the shots don't fall for Kyrie and Durant, forget about it. And to me, the most damaging aspect about the Nets in 2022 is that the other 13 guys are looking at Kyrie and Durant in the fourth quarter, and they have Captain Save-A-Ho disease. It's like, well, we brought you here to take us home. Take us home, guys. And neither one in this series could do it. They just couldn't.
I agree.
Yeah. Six says, Cole and Wise, how soon will Steve Nash receive his pink slip from the Nets front office after this defeat in the playoffs? In my opinion, very. And it's unfortunate.
Okay, but all right. So if you fire Steve Nash, who are you going to go and get?
And that is my issue there. I could see them though making an impulsive decision and say, okay, the scapegoat of why this team had championship aspirations but got bounced in the first round is him.
No, but we know it's not. We know the fact that you had a part-time player part of the season played a key part on it.
Yeah.
Part of the fact that a person that you traded away decided to give up on you like he did his previous team.
And the team before that.
And yeah, so so it just goes to show you that coaches, just Frank Vogel's prime example. He didn't construct that roster.
Nope.
But they expected him to work miracles with it. You knew your deficiencies with the Nets. You knew what you were lacking. You knew what you didn't have.
Right.
And you addressed some of the issues when you acquired Andre Drummond, you acquired Seth Curry in that trade. But the hope was, can you put that one sign back up? Can you put that up right quick?
Sure thing, man. Okay. Go ahead and cook, bro.
So, have you seen this man lately? He was supposed to show up for game 4, and he wasn't there. So, if you have answers, the Brooklyn Nets are seeking help. They need your help finding this man because he hasn't shown up. He's just they had him. Listen, there was hope. There was hope that he was going to be there for game 4. There was hope. There was hope.
Oh yeah.
It came not to be.
Oh yeah.
He's still missing.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna lay into Ben Simmons too later as well because he needs to get some of this work. But sick brother, just for this, I'm so glad you brought this point up because I saw so many individuals become prisoner of the moment. And they became prisoner of the moment because they all were saying, well, Steve Nash needs to be fired. I mean, he doesn't know what he's doing. Okay, he's learning on the job. 1, 2, he didn't look too bad. I mean, he did get out coach, yes. But when you have somebody on the other end in Udaka who knows your team,
Yes. Very
chances
well.
very well, I mean,
very, very well.
chances are you will probably be out coached if you got horses like he does with the Celtics, and you have intel as to how to defend them.
Some very, very potent studs that
Yes, yeah,
that just oh my God.
yeah. I mean, you got dogs who they could just take you off the dribble on offense, and they could pick your pocket defensively. And I'm saying to myself, well, you got a guy who knows how the Nets roll,
Yes.
and he has guys who can help stop them. Now, that's a no brainer. So to me, Nash was put in a no win situation there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he was put further in a no-win situation by looking at a squad where the bread is buttered with Kyrie and with Durant. And with Durant, it's the problem of health because he will be injured at some point in the season, although it wasn't too long for him this past year. And with Kyrie, it's will he show up to work? I mean, it's just that. I mean, if it's not, he wants to. If it's not, he wants to. He wants to gather his thoughts because of the January 6th insurrection last year in Washington, D.C., only to attend his sister's birthday party and just go AWOL. Or if he just has this unvaccination stance that he's going to wholeheartedly stand on, he damages the team because his self-interests come before the squad. What can any coach do when you have one of your star players who has health issues and the other star player who basically acts like a rock star? One, I may add, who seems to actually act as though he is sniffing cocaine at least once a day. I mean, it's just Nash was handcuffed. And I don't care what coach you are, you're going to be handcuffed with this team unless you hold a hardcore stance and say, all right, guys, this is how it's going to be. And either the coach goes to the front office and says you get rid of Kyrie, or Kyrie has to stay straight up and fly right. But something along those lines has to happen. Before I introduce my guest, my wonderful esteemed partner, I want to say this from Sick. He talked about, on top of that, we got Ben Simmons pulled out. Shaq's assessment of Simmons' punk move is accurate. And then he also said, Wise, Ben Simmons was doing the Liz Taylor and showed up fashionably late, punked out and rocking ridiculous gear on the bench. Oh, I'm going to get on that later. But for now, along with Wise and along with myself, let us welcome my man, the other half of the dynamic duo Snowman in the Morning, the founder of Snowman in the Morning, Mr. Brian Snow. How are you, sir?
I'm feeling fabulous.
Good morning, bro.
I am about ready to come back to work.
Well, I figured after last night, because I didn't say this to all of you out here, but I will say it now. So before the series began, Brian and I talked, and this came out of his mouth. Now I pretty much didn't care, but this came out of Brian's mouth. He actually said, "Let me do this right." He actually said, "Quote, I hope the Brooklyn Mets fall completely on their face and get their bounced by the Celtics."
I sure did.
Quote. I'm about to say, am I lying, sir? Yep. So here we are, 4 games later, and that's exactly what happened.
See, I call them the Brooklyn Mess for a reason. Because when this team was put together, people should have known that they weren't going to go far in the postseason, because you had the preseason and you had 82 games to gel. 82 games.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. Hold on. Do I have that? Oh no, go ahead, keep talking. But I'm so glad you said that, bro.
I mean,
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Let me find that.
come
clip.
on. We all three of us have said it. You got 82 games to gel and you didn't. Period.
Oh, let me find this
Yeah,
clip.
that's what happens. That's what happens when you have a part-time player. You have a player that quits on your team, and then you trade him for another headache that just
You
doesn't
said
want
the
to
right
play.
word.
Doesn't want to play. It seems like he has no rush to get on the court.
Brother Brian,
Anyone
what did I
mention-
say about that? What did I say about that trade?
Swapping problems.
Exactly. Teams are swapping problems because
Swapping problems.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, and you mentioned the key word of gelling. I want you to look at this, sir, and I want your thoughts on this, Brian.
You're all just trying to gel, and usually you're gelling around the right time, and that team in the other locker room is gelling at the right time. They've been gelling since Christmas. You know, I don't want to be too cliche, but I don't have a lot of answers for how you make up time, you know, from October until now, when, you know, usually teams would be gelling and things would be feeling good.
The floor is yours.
You know, does the term Pied Piper mean anything to you?
Well, it means something to us. I don't know if it means anything to him, but yes.
That's what you're getting. And Steve Nash is okay. How many times have I said this to you, El Jefe, and you, Cole Johnson? Steve Nash and Frank Vogel are on the same boat. They're sitting ducks.
Oh, yeah. Hired to be fired and
Steve
scapegoats.
Nash is a sitting duck.
Yeah.
If the Nets don't get it done next year, and they won't,
Well, they definitely won't.
Heck no.
who's going to be the first to walk the plank?
Now, if it's voluntarily, I'd probably say it'd be Kyrie. If it's voluntarily walk the plank.
Yeah, if it's voluntary.
If it's involuntarily, of course it's going to be Steve Nash.
It's Steve Nash.
Yeah.
It's Steve Nash. And like Frank Vogel, when Nash signed his name to coach this team, the clock started ticking. And this was and this Nets team, and why I don't know, to many was a preseason favorite to not just get to the NBA World Championship Series, but win it all. And I had a simple question at the top of the season when Cole and I discussed this, and Wise and I discussed this. I had a very simple question. Why?
Not only were they the odds-on favorites to win it all with Vegas, I found that they were all the odds-on preseason favorite to win it all with NBA execs and owners, governors. They all thought the Nets was going to win it all when we were talking about early October.
They also thought the Lakers were good too.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they thought the Lakers too. Yeah.
Everything was about Nets and Lakers, but this is not 2002.
It just goes
All
to
right.
show you. It just goes to show you that some of you analysts out there just suck.
Suck.
Gosh,
Thank
just
you.
suck.
Thank you, El Jefe.
Listen, I've only been doing this however long I've been doing the show.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have so much misinformation. I don't know where. Like,
it's ridiculous.
When the season started, I didn't think Brooklyn was, because if you look at some of the players that they had, their rap sheet tells you, man, Harden was not the answer. Trading for Harden was not the answer. You was better off staying with Clarence LeVert, Jared Allen, and all the other pieces you had.
That's what I was thinking.
Because
You
they were
wanted
young,
your big three.
because
You
they
wanted
were
your big
young, because they were
Studs.
hungry, because they
Studs.
were studs. They
Get rid of
wanted
Spencer
to
Dinwiddie.
grow. Spencer Dinwiddie was the New Jersey Nets. Brooklyn Nets. Okay.
Yeah, and now he's
And then the biggest mistake that the Nets made was repeated, or I should say a repeat of a mistake that your Houston Rockets made.
Mm-hmm.
They fired the wrong person.
Yeah, fired the wrong person. Oh man. All right. So we have Wise who says he says, oh yeah, sorry, not that one. He says, yay, welcome back to the show, Snowman in the Morning.
I appreciate you, Sick, and I appreciate everyone that's been cheering me on. And should all go well. And Cole, I still want you to engineer the show, but should all go well, I'll be back Monday.
Oh, see, there you go. There you have it. So you might see this for the full 2 hours Monday. Okay.
All right.
May the 2nd. Mark it down.
I just have to be careful.
If all goes well, May the 2nd.
I just have to be careful with my energy. I got to be careful with my energy level and make sure I keep walking and moving good like I am. But yeah, week from this coming Monday.
Okay.
I'll be back in the chair. But Cole's going to be in charge of all of the electronics while I upgrade. He's going to be in charge of running the show while I upgrade my laptop and everything. And Wise, I cannot tell you how much I love you for coming on and being a part of the show. And
dude's a beast, man.
I love you. I love you, brother. I love you so much.
I appreciate you giving me this opportunity, man. Like I've been telling Cole, man, this is a childhood dream of mine to be able to talk sports for a living. So to be able to do this,
let's make that dream become a reality.
It is. It's happening now. Like I'm saying,
with this platform and the three of us become a reality. I got another announcement also. There's a station. I won't reveal the station call letters yet because we're getting everything together. There's a station based out of Milwaukee that wants to pick up the show.
Oh man, all right, dope.
So we got BS3 TV. We got a station in Milwaukee that wants to pick us up. I mean, yeah. It's all coming together.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Now back to the Brooklyn mess.
All right.
Close the Barclays. Close the Barclays Center, will you please?
Close it. Close it.
Oh man.
Listen.
He said close the building.
Close the Barclays Center. Because the Nets are not going to do a darn thing while they play in that building.
Talk about a place that has one of the worst home court advantages in the whole entire landscape of professional sports. That's an understatement. Six says that is a gross understatement. Six says, just like Frank Vogel, Steve Nash is probably hearing the old Boney M song, "Gotta Go Home" in his head. Probably is.
More than likely.
If I were Steve Nash,
Go
I'd
ahead,
run
bro.
like hell.
Oh Lord, not what you say about Joel Embiid. We'll talk about him a little later. But new family member Ethan says Kyrie has played 3 seasons with 70+ games and 11. You'd rarely gel with that team, Kyrie. Nets should avoid his contract. Should void his contract if they can.
Who's
Go
been
ahead.
saying that first?
Look. Oh yeah, you've said it often. You said this when he was a Celtic. But I will say this: if a team decides to want to take this guy on 1 year at a time, 1 year at a time, you decide to take him on.
1 year, 1 year minimum. Sign him to the minimum.
And
don't give him
and don't do it. Don't do a 2 year minimum with a 1 year with a second year option. No, 1 year. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
6 says, "Wise, be glad you're stuck in your head. These fools got in their heads stuck in their backsides." Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, first of all, I agree with y'all when they said they fired the wrong coach. He shouldn't have been fired.
Yeah, McHale should not have been fired, and it's ridiculous that he was.
Kenny Atkinson should not have been fired.
No, Kenny Atkinson should have been kept his job.
Right.
He did
Why
a heck
was
of a
he?
job. He did a heck of a job. And then when you implode this team and try to create a big three, instead of nurturing the player you had in Clarence LeVert, who's a good player. He could have done something. He would have added something to that. You keep the defensive stud in Jared Allen,
right?
And again,
the fro,
and then you keep Dinwiddie, and you have someone to run your second unit.
You had a nucleus, but
yes,
they decided to trade all the way.
You want to put some, again, whatever y'all smoking. I would like to know what it is.
Yeah, because
it's got job. It's got job on some other stuff, man. Like, really,
it's good stuff.
That's why. See, and I wrap it up with this before I step away.
Okay.
Give me Cole. Give me an email, please. I got a short one to send.
Oh, it's like that. Okay, well then, all right. Well, brother, here you go.
Body of email. Mr. Durant, what the hell were you thinking when you left Oakland, California? You basically had the prime of your career and the best of your career for 3 seasons in the Bay. They loved you. They adored you. They didn't capitulate to you because they already knew you were one hell of a talent, but you got better playing with Golden State. And now here you are, swept out of the playoffs, while the Golden State Warriors are on the verge of moving on. They honored you, Kevin. They honored you in ways no other team you were with, including Oklahoma City, and I say Oklahoma City specifically, even though they were supposed to be and still need to be the Seattle Supersonics. The Warriors honored you in ways that legends are honored, because for 3 years, Kevin Durant, you were a legend in the Bay. You were a part of one of the greatest teams ever assembled. You made a grown-ass man's decision to leave Russell Westbrook behind and pursue your titles with the right team. But to borrow from Cole Johnson, regular NBA fan cried foul when Durant did that, because regular NBA fan wanted parity. Regular NBA fan wanted competition. Us real NBA fans wanted a team to dominate.
Mm-hmm.
And Golden State is doing just that. So, Kevin, enjoy your contract in Brooklyn, because your former team is getting it done without you, which is sad, which is a shame, and which is stupidity on your part.
Wow.
Enjoy your vacation, Kevin, because it may not be the last one you'll take out of the playoffs. Sincerely, Brian Snow, CEO, Snowman Digital Media. Send.
Well, I'll definitely be talking a little more about Kevin Durant a little later as well. But yeah, definitely. I concur with that. And I guess I could do like a little side note to that email. Whenever you have handlers that say you need to get your own ring, that is exactly what happened. And it's unfortunate, but that is what happened. It's great you have these rings with the Warriors, but you got to get your own ring. You got to have your own team to run, and you have that respect then of everybody because you got your ring. Doesn't matter. You already have two. It doesn't matter what they say.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Oh, and before you leave, Six says, by the way, Snowman, these so-called fan analysts, they're sucking all kinds of this and that and the third, like LeBron's acting career.
That was a good one, Sid. That was a good one.
Pow! I love that. Can we call it an acting career? Wait a minute. He's had one for 20 years. It's called his NBA career.
I was about to say, yeah, he's the best flopper that I've ever seen. And we're talking Vlade Divac. Best flopper I've ever seen is LeBron James.
And yet you mentioned
close second.
Vlade, and yet you mentioned Vlade Divac.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Dude flops better than Vlade.
And that's very hard to do. And that is very hard to do.
It's very hard to do.
Yes, and to borrow a phrase from my dynamic duo partner, find the lie.
No lie found here. No lie found here.
Oh my gosh.
And you wonder why LeBron has his skin back from all the flops he's taken.
Oh gosh.
And what I'm happy is that the referees got wise to his ass, to his flopping.
Well, that and the league too, because I think they had their feel with it as well, and they said, he's getting a little too demonstrative on the court with it. Yeah, you had to ease off on blowing the whistle in his favor.
It's funny when you got like a 5'11" guard coming down and bowling LeBron over. It's like, seriously, hey.
I had someone ask me if I was an NBA player, how would I defend LeBron? It's pretty simple. I'd go Rick Mahorn on him and foul him every chance I got.
So you
make
make him feel your presence.
Make your free throws. You come into the lane, I'm gonna chop you.
And that's why
You're not getting any easy ones.
I miss that era.
Yeah, no, listen, and that's why I like this Boston team, because
Yeah,
they'll put some bodies on you.
they harken back to that. Yes,
They put some bodies on you, and so when that Bron Sexual said what he said, that had it been LeBron against this Celtics,
like it was 4 years ago.
Yeah, when these two studs were just
Time out.
Let me set the table for you. Let me set the table for you, Brian. So, okay, let me do this really correctly. So I had a conversation with a bronsexual. And this bronsexual said, and I wish I was joking when I say this, quote, if LeBron, the current LeBron, were to play against the Celtics currently, he would not be swept like Durant has been. Close quote. Now, he went on with to say, I have proof because LeBron beat the same team with the same players of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Al Horford and Marcus Smart that Durant got swept against. But he, of course, forgot that LeBron played against Brown and Tatum when they were rookies in the NBA, and Smart as well. And they are now 4 years matured going up against Durant. Your thoughts, sir?
Forgive me. 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 You stupid fuck.
A nicer way that he's saying it is.
Bitch, are you for real?
You
got your walking papers.
I do.
That? They discharged.
Look at that.
Oh yeah.
Look at that.
He's going home. That's some great news.
Look at that.
Then I need to
You got calls.
I got some calls to
morning
make,
first.
so I will step
That's
out
right.
of your way.
Yeah, skedaddle. All right, brother.
No, that's all right. We understand, bro. Take care of your business. And hopefully we will see you as this next week, bro. I look forward to it, brother. And you are doing a wonderful job of recovering, of persevering, and now you're winning. I love it, brother, and I look forward to see you coming back. That was the other half of the dynamic duo of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, Brian Snow. Yeah, it's just great to see him. It's great to hear from him.
To hear him, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's also good to hear from the wife. Hey, Dr. K, that's what Sick says. I agree. And Sick also said, let's not forget that Kevin Durant is one of the thinnest skinned players in the league. He's super sensitive as he is hard-headed and egotistical. Sick, you keep dropping these bombs and dropping these mics, dude. Man, ooh, you coming with the hardcore material this morning, bro.
Yeah, he is.
100%.
Sort of missed that yesterday. We sort of missed that yesterday.
Yeah, 100% correct, Sick. 100% correct. But let me wrap this segment up. The fact that people think that Steve Nash is the ultimate, or no, the only reason why the Nets are out the playoffs now because he sucks as a coach and he doesn't know what to do with his team. No, he is handcuffed. It's just that simple. And you got two elite players in their prime, but you have one who doesn't really want to take control of the team and the other who just wants to do what he wants to do. I don't care if you're Phil Jackson. I don't care if you're Red Auerbach. You're going to have issues in coaching that team. And you all, like these fan analysts, as Sick earlier mentioned, you all have to stop being prisoners of the moment. When I come back, I'm glad you mentioned that, Ethan. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. So you'll get our MVP picks later on in the show for sure. Cool. Good morning, brother. He says that Cool McCain says, man, the Brooklyn mess is just that. Ryan says, good morning, gentlemen, and good morning to everyone out
Good
there
morning, Ryan.
watching. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you too, Ryan. Sick also says, I understand, fellas. I kind of also have to make up for missing shows yesterday. I got my dad's hard hat on and going to work. Oh, I understand, brother, man.
Oh, make that paper, bro.
Get it. Hustle. I understand, man. I understand.
Oh,
When we come back, we're going to reset. We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit more about the other NBA playoff matchups. We're going to touch a little bit on the draft because that's actually in 2 days' time. Wow. The NFL draft. I think we got a sliver of what we were going to see Thursday back in the free agency period of last month, but we'll talk a little bit further about that. Come on back.
This is Snowman in the morning.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
You're so right for me, and I'm right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go, babe. I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Now, that voice you heard probably a few minutes ago, you heard it another time. That is Dr. K, the beloved wife of my dynamic duo partner, Brian Snow, he is convalescing. He got his walking papers. He's going home. So you heard it first right here on Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I'm the other half of that team, Cole Johnson, and our partner along with us, Wise El Jefe, has joined us as well. It's a wonderful, glorious day. And hearing that news made the day even better.
Yes, it has.
Oh, man. Six says, good morning, Cool. Good morning, Ryan. And good morning, Ethan. Ethan also says, good morning to you, Sick. And Cool, before we continue onward, said, Ben's softness has handicapped their ability to add or retool as well. Wave that dude. Well, I can't argue with that. Six says, I understand, fellas. No, let's talk about that. Ben, Ivan, and the team at BS3, thank you so much. Good morning to you all. And
Good morning.
And if you want to watch us on TV, we are on the BS3 network right now as we speak. And it is courtesy of these guys. So we thank you so much. And and Ethan, I forgot about your question. I will address it later on in the show. But we're going to touch on the other games from last night. And the other games did not offer a sweep, but they offered series that's going to have a game 6 later on. All right, I will touch on the blowout. The Jazz and Mavericks decided to have a game, but one team only decided to show up. I think that's the best way I could put it. The Mavericks whooped the Jazz 102-77. Now they have a 3-2 series lead as they go back to Salt Lake City. It was not close because the Jazz decided to not invest anything on offense. And then in the third, well, I should say probably starting late second quarter and into the third quarter, they decided not to even play defense at all too. They waved the white flag just like their jerseys that they wore on court last night. Gobert, this is how bad it was. Of the starters, Gobert led the starters with 17 points. Gobert led the starters of the Jazz with 17 points.
I heard you. Yeah.
Now Clarkson, former Laker, he led all scores for the Jazz with 20. But Donovich only had 2. O'Neal only had 5. Conley only had 4. And then this Donovan Mitchell guy, who he's supposed to be the savior of the Jazz. He's supposed to be cut in the same mold and in the lineage of a Stockton and Malone and earlier Adrian Dantley. On 4 of 15 shooting and 0 from 7 from 3, only scored 9 points with 1 field goal. So he had a horrible game. A horrible game because he also had 4 turnovers in the game to boot. Now for the Mavericks, Dorian Finney-Smith, 13 points. The dude, he is doing what you're supposed to do as a role player. He basically is, whenever you need them points at the key moments, he's giving it to you, and that's what I love seeing. He's continuing to show that he needs to be considered every now and then, along with the Mavericks. Bullock chipped in with 9. Powell chipped in with 8. Dinwiddie chipped in with 9 off the bench. But, of course, the game was Luka Doncic, 33 points, along with Jalen Brunson's 24. But Doncic, 33 points, 5 assists, 13 boards, and a couple of shimmies after hitting a couple of threes in the third quarter. They were feeling it. And I'm going to say this right now. It's time to break the Jazz up. It's time to blow this team up. I'm sorry. I've been going on and on. What say you, Wise?
So we're gonna go back to game 4, and you're like, it was a mistake for Dallas to play Luka, right? It's not looking like that now.
Well, no, it's not.
It's not looking like that. It's looking like they just did that to get his feet wet, so that when they got home, he could light it up.
And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, yeah. And again, Jalen Brunson, who's been consistent through these 4 games, or 5 games, whatever they played, he's been consistent. What was it? He's averaged more than 25 points per game.
Well, 41 in game 2, 31 in game 3, 23 in game 4, and now 23 in game 5. So yes, he's been consistent.
Very consistent, and that's what they needed. They needed someone to step up when Luka was down, which he did. Luka's back, and listen. He's going to get paid in this offseason. I think he just played his way out of Dallas, and that might be a mistake. If I was him, I might consider staying in Dallas because you might get the max there.
You would if you did, yes.
But I know he wants to start. I know he wants to be a starter, playing starter minutes,
especially at point. So yeah.
And you're not going to play over Luka. No matter how good you are.
No. The only way you could do that would be if you decide to be okay. If we are on the floor at the same time, I had to be the shooting guard to Luka's point, and then when Luka's on the bench, I basically end up being the point guard of the team.
Yeah.
Unless Brunson's willing to do that, yes, you're right. I think we're seeing the last days of Jalen Brunson as a Maverick. I know that does not bode well with the BS3 again. Sorry, Ben, but that just might be the case. 6 says, good morning to you all as well at BS3 Network. And BS3 Network returns that hello. Cool says, Mitchell out there looking like Trae Young. Oh, gosh, yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh, that was cold.
But he's right. He's right. He's right because he also said, I suffered through that game for the sake of our profession. I'm with you. That game was horrible. That game was bowling shoe ugly. Thank you, Jim Ross. It was just terrible.
Well, 2 out of the 3 games sucked last night. Like,
oh yeah. Oh, we get into the other game that sucked.
At least the Boston Brooklyn game had some excitement towards the end.
Yes. Yes.
So it was competitive.
Yeah. So yeah, I was happy that game was on tap and they were competitive and that the Nets fought. Thankfully, it gave us a game where it's like, okay, so this is what playoff intensity is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Instead of having the other 2 games, and we'll talk about the other one, where one team showed up and the other team decided to say, "Well, F it." I mean, that's just how it looked. So hopefully the Jazz is not waving the white flag because Thursday night tip-off is at 10 p.m. Eastern. I think they're in Mountain Time. So 8 p.m. Local time. That is when Game 6 of this series will tip off out in Salt Lake. And let's see if the Jazz can push it to 7. If they can give the Game 7, I'll be very interested. But the way they looked last night.
If they looked anything like last night, yeah.
They look like they want to
mail
over
it in. 6. It's over in 6.
They look like they want to mail it in. And Doncic looks like he has that energy of, doggone it, you've been talking about me bad enough. You've been saying that I cannot get this team past the first round. I'm gonna show you all I can, and he's playing with that energy. I think he's gonna do it.
Well, let's not just toot his horn just yet, because
I'm not saying
2 games it was Brunson who got him those games.
True.
let's at least kept them around till Luka showed up. So yes, Luka, you were needed, but I like the emergence of Brunson. I think if they can figure how to coexist and play them at the same time or whatever they're doing, this team is a pain. It's kind of, because they play somewhat D. You got Reggie Bullock, who's a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah, they play some D. Yeah.
And they got some nice players, some nice pieces. So it'll be surprising. I would rather for them to advance. Like you said, it is time for this Jazz team to be broken up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The Gobert, Mitchell, Bogdanovich era needs to stop. It just isn't working. It's not working out because they can't have these types of disappointing playoff performances after decent regular seasons.
Yes.
I know this from experience because with the Rockets, that's exactly what I was witness to from 2015 to 2020. Really good regular seasons, sometimes spectacular ones, and they absolutely sucked somewhere along the line in the playoffs. Yeah, that's not good.
Because it's a different atmosphere. We keep
Yes,
saying this. This
much
is what we
different.
discuss.
It's a much
We
different
always say this. We say, yeah, okay, you look great in the regular season. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But the level goes up nine folds when you get into that playoffs. It's a completely different beast. It's much more ramped up than it is regular season. So it don't matter what you did during the regular season. The playoffs is a whole new season. And this is where teams who know that defense is going to help us win this start really clamping down on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And like, listen, yes, you have Rudy Gobert in the middle, but like you said, it's time. They continue to flounder when they get to the playoffs. They're a great regular season team. Hit the playoffs, it's like the bright lights scared them away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you mentioned regular season intensity, playoff intensity being different. We're going to do a little reset. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about that with the other game that happened last night. You are inside hour number 2 of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. YSLFA has joined me. I am Cole Johnson. We'll be back on the other side.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up?
First and 10. Luck steps up, fires towards the end zone. One-handed catch! Mo Alley Cox!
This is Snowman in the Morning.
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait! Are you kidding me? Do you believe it?
Exciting news. It is quite possible the other half of Snowman in the Morning, the other dynamic duo side of this partnership, might be back this coming Monday. That came out of the horse's mouth. And if you saw the first hour, that news was said by him to us. So you might see the three of us come Monday. And hopefully you might see my partner Brian with me every day, every weekday, as he was before he went to surgery.
While he was getting discharged. Let's get that correct.
Yes.
We heard him speak as he got discharged from the hospital. So
yeah,
some great news.
Wonderful news.
And we're just excited that he'll be back next week.
Yeah. That made my morning. Oh my, that made my morning. Other than you guys, because you all make my morning as well. The other half of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, obviously, here to ride with you. And along with me, too, is Wise El Jefe, who just keeps dropping mics all over the place when it comes to sports, because his takes are awesome. I love them. And I love what this show is coming to be.
We got some great news. He told B told us some great news, man. He's like, there's a station looking at us to have us on this station.
I'm pumped.
And it's gonna be some exciting times.
Yes, I am pumped, man. I am pumped. Sam of Shady Sports Network says, good morning, fellas. Looking forward to Friday. That is, of course, our USFL/NFL as well analyst. Wonderful analyst. And you can check out his Shady Sports Network stuff on YouTube. Beautiful stuff. Cool. Thank you. It was a slobber knocker. Another nod to Mr. JR. I appreciate that. 6 says, basically, the Jazz sacrificed this game to regain home advantage. The way they played, they're hustling backwards. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how they thought. 6 says, good morning to you, Shady Sports Network. And he also says, preseason performances don't necessarily generate similar results in the regular season, as the regular season performances don't necessarily generate the same in the playoffs. Exactly. And Sam says, good morning to you, Sick. All right. And I'm so glad that you, Wise, and you, Sick, said that, because the other game that we have not talked about, the least interested series that I'm interested in, took place last night. Game 5 between the 76ers at home against the Raptors. And the 76ers looked like they did not want to have any parts to do with that game altogether, because after the second quarter, that game was over. 103-88 was the final score, and the final score was not indicative of that game, because the 76ers should be ashamed of themselves the way they performed. Siakam, 23 points, 7 assists, 10 boards. Anunoby chipped in with 16. Scotty Barnes, who I think is a wonderful addition back, and I think he's actually added some energy to the Raptors.
Yes.
He
Rookie of the year.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. And also,
let's
newly branded Rookie of the Year.
Let's give him his props.
Yes, we must.
And then we said he was one of the top rookies this year.
Yes,
he deserves that award. He earned it. And we said if he was going to be out for a long time, they were really going to miss him.
Mm-hmm.
And
now he's been playing 2 games. Is it a coincidence they won both of them?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And then, can I ask who led Philly in scoring?
Oh, yes. So on the losing end, the leading scorer for the Phillies, actually for the 76ers actually was Embiid with 20. And all the starters were in double figures. Tobias Harris with 16, Green with 14, Maxey with 12, and Harden with 15. I'm going to get to Harden in a second. Now, for the Raptors, along with Barnes, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 7 defensive boards. So that basically told me, along with Siakam's 10 defensive boards, that basically tells me that they limited Sixers shots to 1 when they were on the floor, on that opposite end of the floor.
Yeah.
16 also for Gary Trent Jr., 17 off the bench for Achua. All right, so the starters for the Sixers, all double figures, no bench contributions whatsoever. None.
They don't have a bench.
Yeah, none. All right, so Embiid, along with the 20 points, he had 11 boards and 4 dimes. Harden, 15 points, 7 assists on 4 of 11 shooting, and 2 of 6 for 3. You see this stat line? This is the playoff stat line that normally exists for at least 2, sometimes 3 games out of a series from James Harden.
Who did we say needed to be the second leading scorer on this team?
That guy would be Mr. Maxey, who only ended up with 12. And he didn't take the most nor the second most shots either.
I'm sure he wasn't. I'm sure it wasn't him.
Yeah. So, of course, he was out of the rhythm, obviously. And why is BB to it in saying it? Embiid definitely has to be number 1 scorer. Maxey has to match him. That's the only way the Sixers are going to put fear in any other team they play, including the current one that they're playing now. Because if not,
I don't fear the beard. I don't fear the beard.
I don't feel the beard, and people never feared the beard in the playoffs.
Regular season. Oh, I'm scared. Playoffs, not so much.
Sorry, never feared in the playoffs, because it seems like playoff teams, from what I have seen, because I have seen a lot of playoff games that James Harden has starred in. It just seems like teams that defend him, they're like, well, okay, he gets these whistles from these step back travels, and yes, I do call them step back travels, and these intentional step into fouls, and the intentional flops when he shoots and he falls back and he slides about 5 feet when he's in the seated position. They call that all day in January.
That works in the regular season. Works in the regular season.
Yeah. They call all that in January.
Playoffs.
Yeah.
They're not going to call that in the playoffs. Because they know
that.
If they call that in the playoffs, there's going to be problems.
Dude.
You're going to have people saying, oh, these games are fixed or this or that. Because they got to let them play.
Yes.
So during the regular season, they're going to let those ticky-tack fouls. They're going to call those ticky-tack fouls.
I cannot tell you how many times, Rockets fan, I can't tell you how many times I have seen him in the playoffs do one of those BS flops, and I would scream at the top of my lungs, "Good! I'm glad they did not whistle you for you drawing that foul." I actually said that. And rooting for my team to win, but glad that he did not get whistled for a BS foul that he tried to draw. Because I'm like, stop trying to draw fouls and try to play the game. And seemingly, to me, that is when my respect level of Harden, I won't say it all the way dropped to nil, but it dropped considerably because it made me understand. So this guy is all about wanting to get the free throw line. It's just it. He's all about getting to the free throw line. Because if he just eliminates the fact that he tries to draw fouls and he has to be forced to shoot from outside or penetrate to the hole, that eliminates half of his game.
Yeah.
And not only does it eliminate half his game, it also eliminates half of his point production too, because he is not the same player. And he has proven that time and time and time again in the postseason. And he has proven it again this postseason. It just frustrates me. The way he plays frustrates me. It just does.
It's you know what? I don't know why people expect any differently. Like, I don't know what they thought that when he was going to Philly, that his game was going to change, evolve.
Right.
No, you're still getting the same player.
Yeah.
You're getting the same player that quit on Brooklyn, that quit on Houston. You're getting that player still. You're still he hasn't changed.
No. And he's not going to change. He's not going to change.
So Cool made a cool. I think they might pull it off. They can win the series. I think they can. Especially if Embiid isn't 100% and everybody else is not going to step up and do what they got to do, because the man listen, when it comes to shooting the rock, and you can't really shoot the rock the way you want to shoot it or hold it the way you want to hold it because your thumb and all that, that's going to be issues. And like we said before, if I'm the Raptors, I'm banging that thumb every chance I get.
Especially considering that you have the length to do it and you have the studs to do it.
So I'm banging them all day. That hand is getting hit every play. Every single play. I don't care what you say. If you say I'm dirty, whatever, I am hitting that hand every play.
And if you don't think the Raptors are going to do it, you know for sure the Heat are.
Yo, if they do survive the series, you know Haslem is coming in to lay some wood.
Oh my gosh. Oh Lord.
That's what Haslem does.
Yes.
So to expect, listen, I would love for Toronto to pull this off because I like some of the players they have. And I just don't have faith in Philly like that. If Maxey can't get it going, they're not going to win. We've seen the last two games has shown you that if Maxey is not successful, and if he doesn't get it going, and like you said, at least match Embiid, they're not going to win.
Yeah, it's just that simple. I agree with you. Sam says, good morning to you, Sick. Cool says, what if Toronto wins this series? Okay, let's play this hypothetical. Because I'm glad you asked this question. So game 6 will be on tap in Toronto Thursday night. Tip-off is at 7 Eastern. So should the Raptors win that game, game 7 will probably be Saturday, more than likely Saturday, I think. And it will be in Philly. And if the team comes out as flat as they did last night, it's quite possible. And all right, so historically, there's never been an NBA team in the history of the league that has come back from a 3-0 deficit in the playoffs. I can think of I know I can think of one. I can't think of more than one. that has come back from a 3-0 deficit to make it 3-3 and forced to a 7th game. And that is the 94 Nuggets when they were in the Western Conference semifinals. They played the Jazz. That's the only instance I can think of that a 3-0 team pushed it to a 7th game. It's quite possible we may see that happen too. Now, should Toronto pull, I'm so sorry, I'm about to do this to you, Wise. Should the Raptors pull the 2004 Red Sox on the Yankees?
That hurt.
I know that I had to apologize in advance. But look, you all performed a Bucky Dent Part 2 the year before. There you go. So
it doesn't work because we didn't win the title.
Well,
so
true.
It doesn't make a difference.
But true, you didn't seal the deal, right?
Yeah, we didn't win the title. They sealed the deal with that one. So
yeah, they did.
It's a little bit,
yeah,
but it's okay.
Yeah. So if the Raptors were to do that to the Sixers, remember you have a coach in Doc Rivers who has seen a 3-run series lead in Orlando, a 3-run series lead in LA, and a 3-1 series lead in Philly, and lose them all. So we're talking about a coach who, yes, he's a champion, but
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question. So if they lose this series, does Morley pull the trigger and bring his boy D'Antoni?
I think that is what will happen. Should the Sixers tank this series?
Yes.
I think you may have heard it here first. Mike D'Antoni will probably be the next head coach of the 76ers. I mean, if Morey brought Harden in, more than likely Morey's going to bring D'Antoni in too. Yeah. Cool also says, I've been saying it. History proves Harden is not that dude in the playoffs. Yeah.
Cool. You are absolutely right.
Cool. 100, bro. 100. I've been seeing this cat from 2015. I know he was on team 2013, but he was still getting his feet wet as being a starter. But 2015 to 2020, 6 straight years, I saw this cat do absolutely bupkis in the playoffs. And I've been saying that to everybody who's a Harden fan. I'm like, dude, you can't trust this guy because from mid-April on, he's going to suck for you. So when he became a net, I smiled. I was like, man, you're going to get an MVP candidate, but you're not going to get a champion because the dude is going to sink it for you. Because he just does not show up. He just doesn't.
Not in the playoffs.
Yeah. Six says, unless he's either got dandruff or lice in his beard, why should anybody fear Harden's beard? Yeah. and Y says exactly on the Doc Rivers out and D'Antoni in. I'm with you. But I think to answer your question in totality, cool. If Toronto becomes the first team in 75-year history of the NBA to come back from a 3-0 series deficit to win a series, that actually might be it for Doc Rivers as a head coach in NBA. Period.
Oh, heads got to roll because you're up 3-0 with an MVP candidate in Joel Embiid. You trade for Harden because he is the piece that you're saying is going to put you over the top, regardless of giving up half your bench with Seth Curry and Andre Drummond, and then giving away the trade assets, the picks. That's what blew my mind was they gave a first-round pick.
Yep.
Like, who does that? Like, for what? And like we said, they got rid of one headache for another. That's it. That's all they did. They just got rid of one quitter for another quitter.
Yeah, and I can't really. I will say this though. I think the Sixers are a little happy with this quitter than Simmons.
Because this quitter played, yes. This one played, yes.
Because this one plays, yes.
So they got a little bit out of that, yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. So yeah, game 6 is Thursday night. The Sixers lead at 3-2. Yes, after leading at 3-0. And they're playing like they are a bunch of zeros.
Yeah,
They should have closed this game out in Toronto. I'm sorry. They should have.
They should have.
All right. So tonight you have game 5 between the Hawks and the Heat. And with Cool's statement earlier of, oh my God, it's so funny that who was playing like Trey? Oh yeah, that Donovan Mitchell was playing like Trey Young.
Donovan Mitchell played, yeah.
We actually might see our third single-digit performance from Trey Young tonight. I'm not saying that's what we're going to see. I'm saying we might see that.
It's a possibility. It's happened the last 2 games, so
yeah,
it doesn't. It wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened again.
I wouldn't either. And I think we're going to see the Heat be the second team to advance to the conference semifinals. The Hawks have nothing for them. They really don't.
No, they don't. First of all, Miami's much deeper,
much
more talented. You have a point guard in Kyle Lowry who doesn't turn the ball over. You have a point guard in Trey Young who turns the ball over every damn time he gets.
Yeah, he is rather careless with the rock. Yeah,
it's if it wasn't for the fact that oh man, and the thing is, last year I thought it was his coming out party because so many people,
I know, man,
talk down about, oh, he's a small guy, he's not built for that, he's not, his true colors are going to come out, and he turns the ball over too much, he's not a great jump shooter. And last year it seemed like, all right, he came out and played hell of a basketball last season. And so this year it's just, I don't know. It's not like they've really changed much from that team. They've returned a lot of the same pieces, except they traded Cam Reddish for Kevin Knox. And Reddish did play a part last year in that team and whatever. But yeah, Trey Young, this offseason, when you get eliminated and you go home today, then you need to go home and start just shooting jump shots. Like, start off with like 200 for the day, every day.
Yeah.
Because, and like we said, it's like, instead of when he's not hitting on his outside shot, instead of penetrating, because we know he can do that, instead of penetrating and creating shots for other people, he's taking shots that he not necessarily need to be taken.
Yeah. And I think that will come in time. I think you'll learn how to actually play that position correctly in terms of not shooting the team in the foot with his shot selection and finding the open man when he does decide to dish. As I said, tip off is 7 p.m. tonight with that one. The next game that's going to be tipping off will be only a half hour later, 7:30 p.m. The most exciting series of the 8. Not necessarily the most star-studded, but the most exciting one. The Timberwolves and the Grizzlies, 2-2. And the series right now is in Memphis.
Who said it's in star-studded, though? To me, I see stars on both teams.
Well, all right. I'll put it. I agree. I do too.
But
So,
okay.
I'll put
as far as the national media,
they're
not considered star players. But to true sports fans like you and myself, who are actually watching these games and analyzing these players, these are some of the best young players in the NBA today. Ja Morant, most improved player. Anthony Edwards, a star in the making, doing rookie of the year last year, stepped it up another notch this year. And what else can we say about Cat?
Right.
A stretch 5 at that. That if he played a little bit more under the basket, would be a beast. And he's that now. But if he played a little bit more under the basket and not worry about threes as much and dominated in the inside like I know he can, I just, to me, these two teams are just showing you that these two franchises have a bright future if they continue on the same path.
Right. And that is, and this series makes me love seeing the playoffs, sans the big names that you normally see people talk about, because it gives me hope for the future. I'm like, man, two good teams with good players that will be elite players very, very soon, if not next year, if not later this year, if either one of these teams decide to go further on in the playoffs. I look forward to seeing what both these teams can do in this series, even. And I pray we see 3 more. I want this to go to a 7th game.
Yeah, definitely would love for that to happen.
Oh my. All right. So you have those 2 games. Then you have the game out in the desert. Also 2-2. You have the Pelicans going up against the Suns. In my opinion, it is simply this. If Chris Paul can make up for the absence of Devin Booker, the Suns will be fine.
No.
If not, the Pelicans will travel back to New Orleans up 3-2.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But Booker, I mean, they missed Devin Booker. And again, I will continue to say he is my choice for MVP this year. I'm sorry. That's just my choice. Because this is just showing you now that he was the best player on the best team in the NBA.
Yeah. And normally those are the ones who get chosen for MVP. Normally.
And everybody who's up for MVP, they all, yes, they all deserve to be up there. They've all have had great seasons. Jokic actually had a better season this year than he had on his MVP year.
Yeah.
Embiid is the first center in 20-something years or more to average 30 points a game
in a season. Yep. Yep.
And Giannis is just Giannis.
Ooh, boy,
but to me, Devin Booker is the best player on the best team. And when he went down, he was lighting it up. He 31 points at the half. That would have been a victory for them.
Oh, yeah.
I think they would have won that game personally.
Because even if he were to only score half of that, that would have made him. That would probably give him 45. That's good enough for a W.
Yeah,
for the Suns.
Yes,
no question. Oh Lord. 6 says, which is worse, a quitter who shows up and sinks it for the team, or one that doesn't show up when the team needs them? Well,
yeah, we did say the one that showed up.
The one
we said the one that showed up is better to have the one that shows up than the one that didn't show up.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about the one who didn't show up a little later, but the one who did is disappointing. Andrew, it is wonderful to see you, my man. How you doing?
Morning,
everything
Andrew.
is good with you. And Cool just basically said Atlanta underperformed. Massively underperformed.
Yes.
But I'll say this. When we got to the play-in game between the Hawks and the Cavs, I said it didn't matter who came out of that play-in. The Heat was going to take care of them and take care of them in pretty quick and tidy fashion, because I did not think either team had it for the Heat. But I said the Trae Young was the only hope for the Hawks to at least make that a series. So far, and Cool also says, I know a Hawks fan who claims Trae is the best point guard in the association. All right. Okay.
No. Just don't do it to yourself.
Okay.
Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself.
Sick. You wanted me to do this earlier? I'll do it now.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Oh my gosh. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. All right. Quick reset. Not going to do a commercial. Just going to do a quick reset. We're going to come back and we're going to address the question that Ethan put up there. We sort of touched on it. We're going to touch on it just a wee bit more. A few seconds later. Come on back.
In case you bronzexuals don't know by now, LeBron has never been the face of the NBA, although people want to claim he's the face of the NBA. When there's a fellow in Oakland, California that kind of snatched the mantle from Kobe by hitting a three in his face, what impact has LeBron James had on the NBA? I'll answer that for you. Nothing.
Jabroni, Jabroni.
Welcome back to Snowman in the Morning.
Winding it down on Snowman in the Morning, the last half hour of this Tuesday show. I'm Cole. That's Wise. Brian is coming back. He feels that he might be back Monday. So hopefully we'll have that return in sick. Both Brian and I have not forgotten how we're going to bring him back. That it will be in full effect. Oh my gosh, that's going to be exciting. I'm excited just to think about it. Andrew says, my Nets keep disappointing me. So frustrating. Don't even know where to go from here. What's worse, Andrew, is I don't even think they know where to go from here. And he says maybe fire Nash to start. I would not be surprised if I see pink slip. I seriously would not. And Cool says, Cole, I have receipts. Oh my gosh. You actually have receipts on this person who says that Trae Young is the best point guard in the NBA. Oh my gosh. Lord have mercy. Let me say it a little better than that.
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Listen.
I feel for your friend, Cool. And I'm glad you know better than that, but I feel for your friend. Now, Ethan asked this question earlier. We were going to address it a little bit here. We're going to do it now. And then and Wise actually touched on it just a wee bit. Who is our NBA most valuable player? And Wise said it beautifully, because I do feel as though Devin Booker has a gripe and he has a point and he has a claim on it. But let me explain how I look at the NBA's MVP voting. And I've said this on this show often. The MVP normally goes to the best player on the best team. The caveat normally is if the second best scorer on the team is not close to the best scorer on the team. Say, for instance, if like Embiid, Embiid averaged 30. If you had a guy who averaged 25, normally Embiid would be canceled out because they'd say, well, Embiid is not really carrying the team, although he is the best player on the team. And if the Sixers won like 70 games, that's how they think in voting. So you have Booker, who I think should be in the top 3, but I think he might not be. But I believe the 3 that's going to be there at the end is going to be Joker, Giannis, and Embiid.
I thought they had announced the top 3, the last 3, or they haven't.
If so, I missed it.
No, I'm almost sure it was those 3. I'm almost positive. That's why this is why I have this gripe that those are the 3 finalists for MVP.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. It was going to be those 3. It was going to be Jokic, Antetokounmpo, and Embiid. I figured it was going to be those 3 because the talk probably wasn't until latter part of March Like I'm talking about maybe a week after St. Patrick's Day that people would say, well, Devin Booker should be considered. Well, why didn't you consider him the other 5 months before? Because the dude has been balling ever since the season started. And thank you, Ethan. He says yes, it was those three. Thank you. I appreciate it, Ethan. All right, so the reason why I believe it wouldn't be Devin, and why it's not being considered Devin, is because they thought, well, Chris Paul is pretty close to him in terms of influence on the team and in point differential. I don't agree with that. I know Wise doesn't either. I know a few who don't as well, but I'm not surprised.
Not at all. I don't agree with that whatsoever.
So, of the three, I personally think it should be Jokic. If I were to put a vote in, it would be Jokic.
You got to think. I look at it this way: the man had a better season, than his MVP season.
Mm-hmm.
How do you top an MVP season?
Mm-hmm.
Ask Joker, because he did it.
Yeah, and Giannis did that as well. His first MVP season, he topped it off. Had a better season, he got MVP again. So, in my opinion, of those three, I think Jokic deserves it more than the other two. However, because of the sentiments and because of sentimentality and because, well, we haven't seen him win it before and he's worked so hard, so we have to give it to him, the guy who's going to win is going to be Embiid.
Yeah, I can see it happening.
Yeah. And people will not explain it from a we really feel it's his time standpoint, but and the others already had their time. This his time to shine standpoint. It's going to be more along the lines of we did average 30 points.
Yeah,
and a big man has an average 30 points in Shaq, so you'll have that.
Yeah, you'll have all that talk and all his accomplishments and everything that's been. But again, MVP to me is the best player on the best team.
Yeah,
and none of those three players, as great as they are, none of their team is the best team in the NBA.
Oh yeah, none of those three are. Yeah, I agree. But I said this.
But again, politics and all that, and then being the first big man in 20-something years to average 30 points, and let's not get it twisted. He had a great year.
Yeah, he did.
He had a great year. So I'm not trying to knock everyone else. They've all deserving of the award, but I think some changes need to be made.
I'll put you like this, and Brian and I have had segments on this before. Now he probably still to this day feels this way. Back in 2017, he felt that the MVP that year, of course, the Warriors were by far, hands and shoulders, were the best team in the NBA. He felt either the award should have gone to Curry or Durant. And I said to him that I could see that would be the case. And they both had great years, and they both brought the team to 67 wins. So, yeah, understand that. Unfortunately, they cancel each other out. And so the MVP voters look at that and they say, okay, we'll go to the next best team with the best player on the team, which was Harden at the time. And he still feels as though he got jobbed, but he really didn't, simply because we saw something we didn't see before in our lifetime, unless you're my father's age. And that is a person end a season with a season triple-double. That is what Westbrook did. That was his first in a long line of many that he's now had and accrued. And because this was something we have never seen before, or I should say in the recent memory, and we hadn't seen since 1962, all right, this guy made history. This guy deserves MVP. But of course, the the Thunder was, I think, 7th place in the Western Conference at the time as they finished. But Curry and Durant cancel each other out because each of them averaged over 25 points that year.
Yeah.
And I could and that is how these voters do it. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Ethan says true, but it would be funny if Embiid would win because they voted Jokic over Embiid in the first team selection. That would be funny. Cool says Ethan, true. They do be tripping. Yeah. Yeah, they do. They do. Cool says Jokic. But that doesn't mean Booker shouldn't have been considered. I don't think it's a runaway. I agree with that. I agree with all of that, Cool. I agree with all of that. All of that. Wise, let me say, 6 says Wise. To answer your question, Jokic looked at his MVP award the previous year to step it up and got a lot better. The MVP honor was validating it as it was motivation. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And Andrew says it was to him it's Jokic as well. And as for the receipts, Cool says, how can I not? I know, bro. Oh, 6 says Harden getting jobbed. It's as if he hasn't jobbed every team he's played for thus far.
Oh man.
I love you, Sick. I love you, bro. Oh my gosh, you coming with some fire to the point where I have to put this on you.
Damn!
Oh my gosh, that is great. Another short break. We're not going to a commercial break, but another short break, a short reset. And with a comeback, we're going to talk a little NFL since the NFL draft is 2 days away. Be right back.
If I were Joel Embiid, knowing the fact that James Harden is your teammate and you're going to have to trust him after the month of April, I'd run like hell. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, the show with the hottest of hot takes and the coldest of cold hard facts. Facts, that is.
Winding it down on Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I am Cole Johnson, one half of the dynamic duo. The other half should be returning, he says, on Monday. But joining me is Wise El Jefe, who joins us every Monday and some other days as well when time permits. And we always have the chair and the mic open for him because he comes with the hot takes as well. I was going to set aside this time to talk about some of Durant and some of Ben Simmons, but I'm like, I could do that another time. And I will do that at another time. But the NFL draft is in 2 days. Man, I can't believe it's been already time now to actually think about the NFL draft. I will pose this question out to you guys. Now, we could talk about who is a prospect that might come off the board first, or who is a prospect you think teams will pass over. I'm not going to address it that way. I'm going to address it this way. The free agency period that we saw last month, as just opposed to the draft this month, because the overall sentiment of the draft is that the talent pool isn't thick, especially at the quarterback position. It is at the wide receiver slot.
Yes, it is. It's deep at wide receiver. Mm-hmm. It's deep at a lot of positions, except for the quarterback position. There is no clear-cut number one quarterback this year. So the number one pick this year might not be a quarterback.
And I don't think it will be. I don't think the number one guy will be a quarterback. But yeah, deep with wide receiver, deep with edge rushers, deep with offensive linemen, from what I can understand.
Yeah.
And the question I pose to all of you is, the free agency movement we saw in March and some in early April, do you think teams were preparing themselves to not make the big mark in the NFL draft? Or do you think that they were positioning themselves to actually be a player in the draft by trading up or down? I'll ask it that way. Because the moves that I saw made me think the NFL brass doesn't really have all the high hopes for the prospects that's coming out, except for a few, maybe a couple of pass rushers, maybe a couple offensive linemen, definitely wide receivers.
Yes.
And it made me think that these teams are trying to position themselves to either trade up or trade down because of the value in certain spots or the lack thereof.
And it's this year, like in previous years, you've always had that clear cut number one pick. You don't know where that team is going to go this year. Like they can go defensive lineman, whatever it is that they. But I feel a lot of teams are going to trade down because they'll probably find what they need later on in the draft, and maybe they don't want to spend that pick on that player that they want. So some teams, they're going to draft for needs. They're going to draft what they need at those places. But there's trades that are going to happen because it's not. A lot of them are probably going to be trades for picks next year. Because again, like we said, this draft is not deep at quarterback. It's deep at many positions, but quarterback is not one of them.
Yeah. And when I was seeing the movement, it was like back in March when I was seeing can you top this move? I was thinking all of this action now. It must be that they're thinking that they're not going to get who they want to get. Who they want to get in the draft. Because if that were to be the case, I don't think we would have seen as much movement as we did. But I'm actually glad we did.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that we did, to the point where it looks like now these teams are going to have to come off of some cheddar in a way that I think they're uncomfortable in doing. Enter Deebo Samuel. And this is the problem that you have when you want to put a player in a position to do two things. You want him to be the wide receiver and have him run those crisp routes and be the every man there. And then because you're depleted in the running backs position and your depth is challenged, you put him in the backfield and not just run sweeps and reverses, but you have him run dives and you have him run traps. Or I'm sorry, let me simplify it. You have him running it up the middle between the center and the guard.
Yeah.
There's a danger to that. And now you put him in the position that Le'Veon Bell wanted to put himself in years ago when he was with the Steelers. But Deebo is in that position.
Yeah, because when they drafted Le'Veon Bell was a running back. That was his quote unquote title.
Right.
Deebo came in as a receiver.
Right.
He wasn't penciled in as the running back. He was penciled in as a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He just happens to be a pretty dynamic running back as well. And so I want to get paid receiver money. I'm sorry. Me personally, I want to get paid receiver money because the lifespan of a running back isn't that long.
Nope.
So I want that receiver cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's over 100 mil guaranteed now for a lot of these receiver money.
And I think that is what these NFL teams are seeing. They're looking and they're looking at these NFL stud wide receivers, and they're like, oh man, we almost have to pay the number one wide receivers like we used to pay quarterbacks. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. Yeah. Cool says Jacksonville will screw it up. Just look what they paid Kirk. Yeah. 6 says, here's my question. Can either of you guys recall an NFL draft which had some slim pickings? Can anybody recall a particular year when the draft was rather dismal?
Oh, man.
I can't recall a recent one where that's been the case. But but whenever there wasn't a quarterback that you would say he's going off the board number one overall, normally the draft has that particular year's draft is considered, I won't say bad, but it's considered subpar. For example,
the best quarterback they have coming out is Pickett. That's what they feel.
Oh yeah, Kenny Pickett is supposed to be the best prospect to come out. Yeah, out of Pitt. Yeah, he's supposed to be the best one. But the one that seems to get the most pub
is he a first rounder though? Is he worth that first round pick?
But the one who seems to get the most pub has been Malik Willis, the quarterback out of Liberty. And I think it's in large part to, do you all really think the Steelers are going to start Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback?
But okay, all right. Listen, Mitchell Trubisky, if you look at his stats, he's got some pretty good stats. He's actually got more touchdowns than TDs. I can't say that for a couple of other people like Mason Rudolph or Baker Mayfield. Mitch Trubisky, when he started out in Chicago, there was promise there.
Yeah.
They just kind of like didn't put anything else around him. Like he didn't really have the weapons that to really help. Didn't really have a running game. His line wasn't that good. All he really had was Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
He never really had an offense to really help. I think that 1 year in Buffalo might have saved his career.
Yeah.
Because I think that 1 year being in Buffalo, seeing Josh Allen and seeing what's going on, and I think that just kind of lit a fire under him. And I think he's going to come into Pittsburgh. He's going to beat out Mason Rudolph for the position, and I think he's going to be the next quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I actually think he's going to have a pretty good season.
Yeah, just as long as it's not Mason Rudolph that started for the Steelers. Because
that
is hot garbage.
I think if he does start, if Mr. Trubisky, they have the weapons for him there, man. Claypool is a beast.
Oh, Claypool, when he actually is focused, is a beast.
Yes, he has the receiver. Maybe improve their running game and get some help on the offensive line.
Their running game is okay. I think they need to deepen the running back pool, the depth of it. Because Najee Harris, if you give him a line, I think he can put in that work.
Yes, and I kind of forgot about Najee Harris. That's what I'm saying. He didn't have that season that really made me stand up and realize that he was there.
Yeah, and to me, his season last year was not his fault. That offensive line was just
horrendous.
Bad.
Yeah.
It was horrible, to the point where they had to compensate for Ben Roethlisberger's lack of arm strength with short passes, and teams knew that.
And his mobility. Don't let's not forget his mobility because he can't move anywhere.
Right. Teams knew that, and they sent the house because of that and his lack of mobility. And so when teams just pressure, it's like, okay, we're just gonna send the house, period. it just limited the running options for Harris. But but I do agree, though. I think they need to improve the depth of the running backs for the Steelers do, and that offensive line needs to improve greatly. No question about that. 6 says, here's my question. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I said Kid Cool says Debo hasn't had a healthy career. Even he missed games hurt. He was hurt and missed games last year, which is true. He did. 6 says, cool. Fortunately, the Jaguars won't screw it up like AEW did when it comes to certain signings. Oh, that's sad.
That's a low blow.
That is a low blow.
Low blow.
That is a low blow.
But I feel him on that. Yeah, some of them signings is just. But we're talking football, so we're gonna continue. But
yeah.
The Jags hiring Doug Peterson was a great move. It made up for the debacle that was.
Oh God,
Urban Meyer.
That's
who I didn't think had it cut out for an NFL head coach.
Yeah,
he just
it was horrible.
He just wasn't an NFL head coach. There's certain people that they're great college coaches, and the NFL is a completely different beast.
Yeah, he was horrible. And the thing is, I'm like, you should have known this guy was not cut for the NFL. But before you sign him, I'm thinking because I was like, Urban Meyer wanting to be an NFL head coach, that's not going to go well because most of these successful college head coaches, they're going to take how they were successful in college to the pros, and it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because the philosophy is totally different and the power structure is totally different. And what you could do as a head coach in college is different than what you could do as a head coach in the pros.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with you 100%.
Oh my. Going back to the last segment. Cool laughed at Six Harden getting jobbed comment. And Six says, I'm serious on that question. Harden has been jobbing every team as he's been jiving. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, ain't getting you
ain't gonna get no argument here.
out of me.
You get no argument over here.
No argument on the panel. None. Cool says, I think that Chris Paul is seen as a 1B or 1A, which hurts the best player on the best team argument. For me, it could be the best player that's integral to their team's success. Yeah. Or integral. Yeah. And that's exactly what I believe the MVP voting hurt Devin in this regard because of that. Six says, Wise, it was low like Johnny Cage's crotch shot in Mortal Kombat or Cassie Cage in Mortal Kombat X. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Y'all are too much. Well, I would love to go on and do more, but unfortunately we have to come into the show. But I will leave you with this because we will be doing this. We'll be doing a segment tomorrow on him. If you have seen this man, report him to Snowman in the Morning. He has been missing on the court for now 10 months and 6 days. And with that, Wise, how can the people find you, good sir?
You can find me on all major platforms. Stuck in My Mind podcast. I'm on Google, Spotify, Apple. Check out my YouTube channel, Stuck in My Mind podcast. Check out the radio station, realwiseradio.com, where you can hear Snowman in the morning every morning. And check out my website. My production company website is realwiseproductions.com.
This man's doing big things. So for him to be here, it's a privilege for us. So we are glad that he's able to share his time with us, along with his expertise, because this man knows what he's talking about. Oh my gosh. Oh, Cool says, Wise completely agree with the Steelers take. Yeah. Yeah, I as well.
I tried, Cool. I tried, man. I didn't know I was going to listen. I just, like I told y'all guys, I just appreciate this opportunity to talk what I love to talk about, man.
I do too. Oh Lord. Cool says, Sick Dicky, Mortal Kombat.
Then now you gotta put the other one up.
Oh, I am. And Sick, he dropped the bike for the rest of this show and saying, Amber Alert, we found Ben Simmons at a fashion show. And we are going to talk about that, one of these hideous outfits he wore on the sideline tomorrow. No question about that. You can find me at Cole Sports with a Z. That is Cole Sports with a Z on YouTube. You'll get daily videos like this. And, of course, the mothership on the weekends. That's how I roll. Now I'm more than just one half of Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. I also have that platform that's been 6 years and strong and still going. For all of us here at try to get the show correct, Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, and for Wise LFA, and for the soon-to-be returning Brian Snow, I am Cole Johnson. I'm here to say to you all, take care, God bless. Always remember, make your next move your best move, and if your dreams don't scare you, then they're not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. That's what Wise is doing. That's what I'm doing. I know that's what my boy Andrew and Sick and Cool and Sam of Shady Sports. Ethan, part of the family. We love you, brother. Andrew, love you too, man. Come on back. We love you. We hope you all are doing big things too, because that's just how we roll. For all of us here at Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, I am one half of the dynamic duo, Cole Johnson, here to say adios. Ben Simmons, wear a man's clothes. Happy tomorrow.
Thank you for tuning in to Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson, the hottest of hot takes and the coldest of cold, hard facts.